You can have 24 perfectly managed hours and still feel hollow at the end of the day. I know because I have had that day many times. Every block on the calendar filled, every task completed, every meeting attended, every email answered. And at 10 p.m., sitting on my couch, I would look back and wonder why I felt like I had accomplished nothing meaningful. The problem was not my calendar. My calendar was immaculate, color-coded, optimized, synced across devices. The problem was that I was managing the wrong resource entirely. Time is the container, energy is the content. An empty container, no matter how elegantly organized, is still empty. I am Prashant Nagpal. This is the Better Daily Podcast. Let us get into it. In medical imaging, we deal with a concept called signal to noise ratio. Signal is the useful diagnostic information, the anatomy you need to see, the pathology you need to detect. Noise is background interference that obscures the signal. A high signal to noise ratio gives you a clear diagnostic image. A low one gives you a muddy image where everything looks like something and nothing is definitive. Your daily energy works the same way. Some activities produce signal. They generate clarity, forward momentum, creativity, meaning. They leave you feeling like the day counted. Other activities produce noise. They fill hours. They keep you busy. They feel productive in the moment, but they move nothing forward. They are the administrative equivalent of static on a scan. Present, consuming bandwidth, contributing nothing diagnostic. The question that changed how I structure my days is not how many hours did I work? It is what was the signal to noise ratio of my day. I used to pride myself on working long hours. 12, 14-hour days were common during certain stretches of my career. I wore it as a badge until I did an honest audit and realized at least 3 to 4 of those hours every day were noise. Email cycling, opening the inbox, reading messages, flagging some, closing the inbox, reopening it 15 minutes later, rereading the same flagged messages. That is not work. That is a nervous habit dressed up as productivity. Unnecessary meetings, low priority administrative tasks that felt urgent because they had deadlines but would have zero impact on any outcome I cared about. When I cut the noise and protected the signal, I got more done in 8 focused hours than I had been getting done in 14 scattered ones. And I went home with energy left over for the people and activities that matter most. Tony Schwartz and Jim Loehr, in their research on human performance, propose a model with 4 dimensions of energy. Physical energy, the foundation, sleep, nutrition, hydration, movement. Without it, everything else is compromised. You cannot think clearly or regulate emotions on a body that is underslept and sedentary. Emotional energy, your capacity for patience, empathy, and relational engagement, the fuel for your interactions with other humans. Mental energy, your capacity for focus, analysis, and strategic reasoning, the fuel for your most demanding cognitive work. Spiritual energy, the sense that what you are doing is connected to something larger than yourself. The feeling that the work has meaning beyond the immediate task. Not religious, relational to purpose. Here is what most people miss. These 4 dimensions are not substitutable. You cannot pay off a sleep deficit with willpower. You cannot think your way through emotional exhaustion. You cannot push harder to find meaning. If you are physically depleted, more caffeine does not restore the signal. It just amplifies the noise. If you are emotionally depleted, a better morning routine will not help you be present at dinner. If you are mentally depleted, a long weekend of scrolling will not restore your ability to think strategically Monday morning. Each dimension requires its own specific renewal, which brings us to the clinical parallel. In cardiovascular imaging, we study the cardiac cycle constantly. 2 phases: systole, the contraction, the work; diastole, the relaxation, the recovery. Both are essential. The heart that tries to contract without relaxing fails. The deeper insight is that most of the coronary blood flow happens during diastole. The heart gets its own supply during recovery, not during work. If you never let the cycle pause, the muscle itself starves. It is literally true of the heart and figuratively true of you. Recovery is not a pause from the work. Recovery is the work. It is the phase during which you get resupplied, so the next contraction is powerful. Here is your application. Move 1. The energy audit. For 3 days, at the end of each day, write one sentence in each of 4 lines. Physical energy today, high/medium/low. Same for emotional, mental, spiritual. That is it. 3 days of data and you will see your pattern. Move 2. Match energy to work. Identify the 2 hours of the day when your mental energy is highest. Protect them. Block them on your calendar. No meetings, no email. That window is for your most cognitively demanding work. The work that done well moves the whole system forward. Everything else fits around it. Move 3. Build a diastolic practice. Pick one daily recovery ritual and make it non-negotiable. A 20-minute walk outside, phone in pocket. 10 minutes of reading something unrelated to work. A real meal, eaten slowly. This is not indulgence. It is coronary supply for the next contraction. Seneca wrote that the mind must be given relaxation. It will rise improved and sharper after rest. He was observing 2000 years ago what cardiac physiology now measures directly. Work without recovery is not a virtue. It is a liability. The best performers I know are not the ones who work the longest. They are the ones who have built the tightest cycle. Hard contraction, deliberate recovery, again and again. Their output looks effortless because the architecture is invisible, but it is there. And it is what lets them keep showing up sharp year after year. There is also a signal from my clinical practice I want you to sit with. When a patient presents with unexplained fatigue, we do not prescribe more caffeine. We do not tell them to push through. We look at the physiology. What is the supply like? What is the demand like? Where is the imbalance? Because the body is exquisitely honest. When output exceeds supply for long enough, something fails. Sometimes silently for years, until it does not. Your life is running the same equations every day, whether you're measuring or not. The ledger is real. The question is whether you're tracking the right columns. Hours worked tells you nothing about whether you're solvent. Energy supplied versus energy spent across all 4 dimensions tells you everything. Stop managing your time, manage your energy. Track the signal, respect the diastole, and watch what happens to your output when the hours you work are actually on. I am Prashant Nagpal. This is the Better Daily Podcast. Small shifts, big life. I will see you in the next one.